Hey Internet, Kura here from QQMore.net. Why is Guild Wars 2 so terribly unbalanced? Or is it even unbalanced? Today I would like to take a look behind the curtains of the game and show you why I think that GW2 is doing pretty well. So let's start very easy with the question what balance actually is. Balance can be described as the idea of giving all classes the same worth. Equality, maybe regarding offensive or defensive possibilities. This is clearly not the reality, therefore many encounters might appear as not being fair. So could we say GW2 is often unfair? Let's put this into another perspective. The most plausible attempt on this is probably the idea to balance this straight mathematically. For example, we could say let's edit all auto attack skills to always do 100 damage. Every heal skill to heal 1000, and so on. Maybe warriors get 50 bonus direct damage and necros 50 bonus condition damage. This would in fact establish a perfect balance. But why didn't the developers choose to do so, if it is that simple? Well, let's spin this thought a bit further. One popular game which did this was the first StarCraft. Since everything in StarCraft was so well calculated, everyone who played it on a very high standard had to find another way to outplay the opponent, rather than choosing clever tactics or finding a weakness in the enemy army. It became primarily very quick and moreover a question of who could act the fastest and put complex maneuvers the quickest into practice. It turned the strategy game into an action game. Of course, GW2 isn't a strategy game, but bear with me. Moreover, StarCraft suffered from the standard problems that occur in such environments of mathematical balance. After a while, the best builds and approaches crystallized out, which were the most efficient. Therefore, you would always suffer from trying to find new creative ways to play, since quickness and saving time would always be your number one priority. So, if you would apply this, the PvP in GW2 would be all about which class can land the damage first, who has the fastest click time and best micro. It would sacrifice strategy in the favor of action. This isn't always a bad thing. You can see a lot of arena shooters which benefit from this a lot. However, it often also brings a stale, non-engaging environment with it if applied to the wrong games. What GW2 does instead is it creates an intended unbalance, which will also sooner or later establish a metagame. On a side note, a metagame can be described as a popular and well-running collection of builds, in this case these which are played in the higher standard place. What this also does is, it gives the players no 100% correct approach. It rather engages them to experiment and find out new ways and strategies. Moreover, this counts for all skill levels equally. Instead of complex rotations or insane reflexes you have to accomplish in order to compete, it lets you evolve more naturally, more suited to your playstyle. This also creates something which James from Extra Credits calls a cyclical imbalancement. I've linked their great video on this topic in the description. Allow me to explain this concept to you. One class might perform a touch better than others in a PvP environment. Let's go ahead and call it Class A. Naturally, this will lead to the point where a lot of people will play this class or maybe build simply because it works better. The unbalance now engages player to think about possible counters for Class A, until someone finds a build or class which can outplay Class A. Even though Class A performs naturally better, this will cause it to perform in practice worse, even though it's slightly better than average. This goes on until Class B becomes more popular and causes the metagame to shift, until Class C comes to rescue. You could already see this happen with Berserker related builds. Although they do tremendous damage, these builds became more and more rare since the metagame shifted to a more tankier approach, which negated the benefits of glass cannons. There wasn't a significant patch which nerfed Berserker to a point where they were broken. They even got buffed over the course of time. So, what Cyclical imbalancement does is it creates an ever-existing and very interesting problem for the player to think about, rather than a neutral environment where all tactics are pinned down. It will never give you the feeling that you mastered your class completely and therefore engage you to compete and find new ways to victory. Let's wrap this up again. GW2 is unbalanced and sometimes even unfair. And even if this sounds irrational, this is a very good thing. It engages people to play together as a team. Classes who can do things better than others can bring a colorful mix to a teamfight and keep the game interesting and evolving, as the metagame is an ever-changing environment. I hope I could introduce some interesting ideas to you. Thanks for watching and good luck, have fun!